Hello, and welcome back to Enhanced Prefab Loader. It has been a little while since we have had any type of updates with the Prefab Loader, but we now support adding brand new sellable items. So I am here to give you a tutorial on how to add a brand new sellable item and how to add multiple items to TCG Card Shop Simulator via the Prefab Loader. All right, so the very first thing I recommend you to do is to go back to where the prefab loader is on Nexus Mod and re-download the Create Asset Bundle script from the optional downloads for Enhanced Prefab Loader. This script does a lot more for you now other than just make asset bundles. All right, so if you are maybe a little rusty on this, so I have some of my stuff set up here. And if you click on the folders in the assets, and you click on any folder in assets in this option in this screen here, you get this little asset labels down here. What you can do with that is set it up so that folder also gets turned into an asset bundle. So you just add your asset bundle label here. You can choose one that's already here, or you can hit new and put in whatever you want it to be. Asset bundles will be built and placed under the asset bundles folder, and then any type of directory that you have in the label, such as I have my bundle / sellable examples. So mine comes into my bundles and then it's built as sellable examples. So let's get into this, and we're going to start. I'm going to add this Chiatsu item and this Kirabo item. So the easiest place to start with adding this is if you go to game object and you scroll down a little bit, you will find this item mesh object. This is a prefab, so if you just double click into it, never mind the texture on it. Let me fix that real quick. It'll look something like this. It should have the common pack label on it, but this is it does start off as a pack. This is the item where all of your meshes and materials are assigned to when the item is created in game. So this is what it uses, the prefab that it uses. Unlike adding furniture where we are adding prefabs, we are not adding prefabs. We are just adding meshes and materials and icons, and that's it. So my Jutsu item's already good to go, so we're going to go over the Karibu item. So in order to start this, what we need to do is we just need to change the mesh of this prefab. Let's change it to the Karibu. Oops. All right, and we can change the material out, and this basically just shows what it's going to look like in game, right? All right, there are a couple things we need to do. So we need to change the collider to kind of fit the Karibu. I already have values, so let me just input those values in here. It might take you a little bit of time of playing around with this to get the values correct, and that's perfectly fine. It took me a little bit of time as well. I just didn't want to burn that time during the tutorial here. So I'm just going to input these values. And we're going to need these values. So there is a reason why we're doing this. We're going to need these values here in a second. All right. So I have everything named the way I want it. So the icon's name must be unique across all icons in the game, across all icons you have added, across any icons that may be added by future people using Prefab Loader to load in new items. So I absolutely encourage you to come up with some type of unique prefix that is your prefix, or some type of unique suffix that is your suffix to prefix and suffixes with, they absolutely have to be unique names. 100% across all items, across all furniture, across anything that's ever going to be added with Prefab Loader, the icon names have to be unique. And they also have to be set for Sprite 2D and UI up here in the top right hand corner. The next thing we need to do is make sure we have our material set up, which I already have my material here, and I have added the texture to it here. The material name and the texture name do not matter. You can name them whatever you want to name them. And then you have to have the mesh. The mesh name does not matter. You can name it whatever you want to name it. So after you have all this stuff set up and you have my asset bundles here, you have downloaded the create asset bundles from the optional downloads. You can go into, make sure that you have your folder set up to go out to asset bundle. You can go out to assets, build asset bundles with verification. I have multiple asset bundles here that I'm working on, so I'm just going to click off of the include in asset bundle. I'm going to click that one off so it does not build it. And I'm going to build the sellables example. So for Chaosu, I already have the information here for Chaosu that I want to put in. So I'm just going, so you see the name and the icon name. The name and the sprite name are already fixed. The materials are already fixed. For the mesh name is weird. It's not coming up correctly for some reason. I'll figure it out on the script eventually, in which case the script will get another release. But until then, all you have to do is just change it to be the same name as this right here. So this name is Jiaotsu as well. Okay. Now I already have values for Jiaotsu for everything that I want. So we're just going to quickly go through this. For item category is, if you come into, it's going to be an E item category. It's going to be one of these values. For Chiaotzu, we're just going to call him a figurine. So we're just going to copy and paste this as a string here, figurine. It has to be one of those values. So I bring this up again. You can pause if you need to. It has to be one of these values. All right. So base cost for this Jiasu is going to be 11. Well, you know what? Let's make it 10. Base cost is just what the base cost is per item. It is used within the calculations to come up with the generated price cost for everything. This base cost is per item cost. So if the box holds 6, then it's 6 times 10, 60. Other things go into this base cost, this calculation, and we'll get into those as we get more into this setup. We do not want to add this to the accessory store. This is going to be added to the figurine store. We don't want to add it to the game store, so we're going to leave that unchecked. Hide until unlocked is what the Toon Z thing was, where it had the question mark over it until you actually unlocked it in the base game. We'll go ahead and do that for Jiaotsu, just so we can show it off. Item type. This is going to be your made up item type. This item type has to be unique across all items. Any item added into the game with Prefab Loader, this item type has to be unique. Does not matter whether it's your items, my items, Joe Blow's items, it does not matter. This item type has to be unique. Very similar to the sprite name, the icon name. So, recommend, again, coming up with a prefix or a suffix that is very unique to you, that nobody else is likely to use for this. License price is just a price to unlock the license. License level. This is the level you have to be in order to unlock the license. We're just going to give it some random name. Again, mesh, for whatever reason, mesh comes up as default. Just change it to be whatever the name of this is. The material, just name it whatever you name the material. Chiaotzu. Min price and max price percentage is used with the base cost in order to determine market value and what the price of everything is. Follow item price is an E item type or an item type, but if I'm in the game, this is going to be too big for me to show you every possibility, but I can show you what this is. It's just going to be one of these. I would not worry too much about this. The only thing in the game that uses this is things like card packs for the big box follows small box type thing. I would not worry about this at all. It should be okay. It should be okay. You can just leave this blank. If you do put something in there, it tends to make the prices extreme. So I just leave it blank. I just leave the option in there. You can play with it if you want to and see if you can figure out more about it than I can. So is tall item? Chiaotzu is a tall item. This is not giving me all the options. We will go through the other options here in a second because this is not giving me all the options. So Chiaotzu is a tall item. Inbox Y offset and inbox scale. This is for when it is in the box, you open the box, and sometimes there's some clipping, or the item looks like it's not sitting in the box, or whatever may be the case. You may need to play with this one and get it right, but I already have correct values for Chiaotzu, so I'm just going to put them in. It's going to be negative 2.25. Inbox scale Y, inbox scale is inbox scale is going to be negative 0.25. Inbox scale Y, it's going to be a 0.05. All right, collider offset. This is where this values come up. So this center is going to be the offsets. So it's going to be 0. It's going to be, for Chiaotzu, I already have the offsets here. So I'm just going to put them in. It's going to be 0.05 and 0.0. Collider scale is going to be size here, right? So this one. For Chiaotzu, I got the values sitting off screen here, so let me put those in. It's going to be 0.1, 0.2, 0.1, and then the item dimension. The item dimension is how big the item is. For Chiaotzu, I already have the dimensions that I want to use for this. It's going to be 1 for 1. And you can kind of get an idea of dimensions by going to the search bar here and typing in scriptable object, and then in this stock item, and then if you go to item data list, you can click on any of them really, but Knock Deep plushie is going to be the very first bat plushie you can buy, and you can kind of like see what its like offsets are, what its dimensions are. So it's like 4 on the X, 2.6, Z is 1, or for instance, Jiaosu is closer to the Toon Z plushie. The Toon Z plushie does a 1.3341. So you can kind of base your dimensions off of what the closest thing is to like your plushie, right? All right, so let's go through Caribou. I've already explained these, so I'm just going to kind of quickly do this. This is also going to be a figurine. We're going to make this really cheap. Let me make sure I spelled figurine correct. Yep. We're going to add it to figurine store, item type, GN Caribou. So item price or license price, let's just make it 800. Oh, let's make it 500. We're going to make it cheap. License level is 2. Mesh, like I said, that comes up as default. I just need to change it to this. So it's going to be Caribou. We're going to make this cheaper, so we're just going to do like 0.5 and a 0.9. So that's ultimately going to make this a really, really cheap item. We're not going to do a follow price. It's not a tall item. The inbox Y offset is nothing. And the offset scale was going to be, the inbox scale is going to be a negative 0.1. So I've played around with the item dimensions, with these dimensions, and this is the dimensions I came up with. So again, of course, the offset is going to be the center. So it's going to be negative 0.01, 0.014, and the scale is going to be the size, so 0.18, 0.1, 0.08, and then the dimensions. I've kind of played around with the dimensions off screen, so I have dimensions that I'm happy with for this. It's going to be 2, 2.5, and 1. And then you just hit build selected asset bundles. And it built the asset bundles, it placed them in my asset bundles. It placed them in asset bundles, my bundles, just like it showed on my folder. So I double click this. Sorry about that. And then we have the asset bundle here. We have the JSON file that's wrote out here. And then we have another JSON file that you're going to need right here. And I'm going to show you where these go in just a second. First, we need to go in and fix this because okay, so first let's do this. Let's put it where it needs to go. Okay, so your plugin, your mod is now going to look something like, let me go here. Let me make a new folder. Let's just call my very cool plugin. And your plugin is going to have like a texture replacer, stuff like that, right? So within your plugin, my newest update does not require you to put your stuff into the My Prefab folder any longer. I made changes in order to support multiple different mod extensions and mod handlers and mod loaders and all this good stuff. The only thing my plugin requires, the only thing my mod requires now is that you have it in a folder that's has a name ending in Prefab Loader. So say this is your folder, you would just make a new folder, something Prefab Loader, right? And that's all my mod requires, is it has underscore Prefab Loader. So you would put, what you would put in there is, let me move this a little bit further. Oop, wrong way. Here, let me move it this way. What you would put in there is the sellables asset bundle and the JSON file. Oh, I accidentally double clicked to open that. And the JSON file. Okay. Then you need to have one more folder. So we're going to make another folder here. And this is going to be the same way. It has to end in Prefab Loader. So we're just going to call it Prefab Loader for the sake of being simple. And that's where you're going to put this object, this that starts with object. And you're going to drag and drop that in there. It does not matter what you name this, as long as it ends with dot, as long as it's a .json file. And it's in a folder that ends with Prefab Loader. Same thing with this. It doesn't matter what you name these, as long as one is a JSON object and the other one is named the exact same without JSON. So the prefab needs to be named exactly what the JSON is named, just without the .json. I mean the asset bundle, not prefab. All right. Now that you got those two figured out and you have them in the folders you need them in, so you go to the base game folder. Let me open up the base game folder here. Okay, does base game folder. All right, so now the way this is going to work is you're going to, in your plugin, you're going to have, right, you're going to have a plugins something or your mod name, and then you're going to have, and then you're going to have a patchers, right, and it's going to be your mod name. And then in this is where you need the folder that ends with Prefab Loader. We'll just drag that in there. So you have a patchers, your mod name, Prefab Loader, and then with that object JSON. Then you have a plugins, your mod name, and then a folder that ends with Prefab Loader. And we're just going to drop both those in there. Okay, so now we know where these are going to go. The one with the plugins is going to go with plugins. There's your mod name. The one with patchers will end up merging with patchers. There's your mod name. Now, let's go through the couple of things that my exporter missed. I'm going to update that exporter to do these correctly so you don't have to worry about it. Odd name, sellable examples.json. Okay, a couple things that this exporter missed is big box. For Chiatsu, that is true. It is a big box. This is whether it comes in a big box or small box. Ignore double image for Chiatsu. This needs to be true. We're going to leave it false just so I can show you why, but it needs to be true for Chiatsu. This is a bug fix for the game. The icons kind of double up sometimes. And this is tall image. Chiatsu is a tall image, tall item. So for Karibu, we also want him to come in a big box. He doesn't have to, but we want him to come in a big box. We do want to ignore double image, and everything else is correct. So I think the only two that's really missing in that export is these two. All right, so we have those now. I fixed those for both of those, save that, and we are good to go. So your mod is still here correctly, right? So now we can hit play, and we can go see your mod work. Oh, wait. We can't see your mod work right now because I have this. I'm going to delete that. And delete this. Okay. Now we can hit play and go see your mod work. All right. All right. And we added both of those as figurines. All right. So there's the question mark. You don't know what it is until you unlock it, but it is Chiaotzu. And there's the double image, and that's the reason why it needs to be true. Remember, we left it as false, so I can show you why. Here's Karibo. And you notice the prices automatically generate. This one only generated at 138 because it is 1152 a unit, and there's 12 in the box. This one is 1232 a unit, and there's 8 in the box, so it's a little cheaper. I mean, it's a little more pricey, but it's cheaper because less in a box, right? But we can order these, purchase them. These come 12 in a box, and they sit nicely on the shelf. This does not currently work with auto set prices. I'm trying to figure out why, but it doesn't. I will figure out why and get a patch in for that at a later time. I'm still working on Deco support as well, and there will be another release once Deco is supported. Until then, though, enjoy adding new items to the game. If you already add new furniture to the game, I do recommend still getting this this newer create asset bundles. It works for furniture as well, and lets you fill in the required information and prints out the required JSON files as well. So I do recommend getting that too for furniture as well. Other than that, enjoy adding new items to the game and see y'all the next time there is an update that needs a tutorial video.